Hi. I think what Net means to me over the past 45 years, or at least what I can recall having grown up in a very strong Net household, if I could say, courtesy of my father, Ochieng Oloo, and my mother, Margaret. Net was always such like a big part of our childhoods for as long as I can remember. My parents were members of Langata Self Group, and I remember the fellowships used to happen on Fridays, and of course they would go around like to the various homes, and I know that every Friday when it happened to be in our home, and some Fridays we would accompany them for other meetings as well. But there was such a sense of like vibrancy and life. The fellowships were very loud, first of all, but very, very enjoyable, even for us as young children who might not necessarily have been in the meeting as it was happening. The singing, the loud clapping, the food, the general sense of joy. They used to run like quite late, if I remember well. And sometimes when I was a child, that was also exciting to have that opportunity to stay up late. And it's because of fellowship, or it's fellowship day. But looking back, like with that as the foundation, it's hard to recall any significant point of my life, of our lives, my brothers and I, that Net has not been a part of, because those were like core friendships, I would say, for my parents, people who you were basically just doing life together. So all our significant events, they were always there, front and center, always ready and willing and able to help and support. Right down to the end when my father got sick and eventually passed on, and when my mom followed as well. I remember the immense support, even from a welfare and community point of view. When we found out that my dad was sick, the first people to rally around in terms of prayer, but also just in terms of, okay, how do we put our minds together to even help the family raise funds for treatment. I remember there being, at that time it was COVID times, this was 2020, so people were unable to physically meet, which I know also was really a struggle for a lot of people. But I remember the formation of a prayer chain on WhatsApp, and there was people on it from all over the world, like Net members who have since moved to the diaspora, who are away all over the world, and people who are on the chain really praying for him, praying for his treatment, for his strength, praying for a miracle really. And this was online, and then there would be like a virtual prayer meeting, I think every Friday, and it was so encouraging, and even when he did pass on, the amount of support and help and love we received practically even was just so overwhelming. I remember the fellowships being held at home, pretty much being led by Net. I remember the Net ladies basically taking over my mother's kitchen and just ensuring that like food was always available for the immediate family, and the tea and whatever that's required for all those who are coming, down to the actual burial, the love and support that was there. And even for my mom, I know my mom was like a big integral part of the Net Ladies. I do recall she was actually the speaker, I think, at the last fellowship they had just before she passed on. And so many people made reference to what she shared in that fellowship that they carried so dearly. So just seeing all that, for sure, I can say Net has really been such a part of our lives. And coming on 45 years, even referencing those two events, another refreshing thing for me to see was like there's so many new faces, so many young faces, not just the quote unquote older guard who I would refer to as, my aunties and my uncles, because that's what they were as we were growing up. But it's not just them anymore. There's so many new faces, and it's the fact that even the people who've come in later that would not maybe know like a lot of the founding members that personally, but would still show up like anybody else with the same vigor, with the same dedication. I think that was like pretty impressive to me. And for me, it really showed and demonstrated like a strong sense of growth and succession, a strong pipeline, meaning that like there's still actively people coming in. There's plans, or I would like to think there's plans that are in place to keep recruiting members. So the fellowship keeps growing strong because, as you know, of course, as people grow and lives take different paths, of course, there's people who leave. You don't have everybody in Kenya anymore. So it was also quite refreshing to see like how much growth has happened and continues to happen. I think for me that points to like really strong leadership, really visionary leadership, and I can only pray that it continues to be so in the years going forward. So 45 years is a really big milestone. I would say 45 years is no mean feat. It's not a short amount of time, and it's definitely worth celebrating the amazing work that has happened and done and been put in over the 45 years to get Net to where it is now. And I can only pray that looking forward for another great and amazing 45 years and even more, that the fellowship will continue to grow, will continue to serve the purposes of God in this generation, and this generation being whichever generation that it finds itself in, because definitely it has gone through generational changes, but that in whichever current generation that holds the mantle or holds fort, that Net might continue to serve the purposes of God in that generation. And yeah, that we continue to grow strong, that the celebration will be amazing. Really, like I've said, it's truly such a big feat. And I hope that everyone who's able to come in has an amazing time, even as you reflect on the goodness of God for the years past, and even plan and hope and pray and trust God for the years coming forward, that all will be well. We pray for the leadership, that they may continue to be strengthened. They may be given wisdom and knowledge to know what to do, how to steer, that they may be able to hear the voice of God, to know how to move and how to take the fellowship from strength to strength. And we're really excited for what has been achieved so far. For us, the fellowship has always been a blessing. It's always a warm spot and a warm reminder of my parents, because they were such a big part of this, and in turn it was such a big part of our lives. And yeah, it's been an honor. It's been an honor to experience this, and even just to speak about the impact of the fellowship in our lives from the lens of my parents. So yeah, Thank you.